Hey there, welcome to Strong and Healthy, a podcast for local church leaders, families, and maybe even my grandchildren. My name is Steve Barr, and here's where you're going to find practical nuggets on a wide variety of topics to encourage, challenge, and hopefully inspire you to take your next steps in God. Hey there, everybody. We're back today, and I'm going to be talking about grace gifts, or the gifts we see in Romans chapter 12, the charisma gifts. Father, I pray that you would open our hearts and minds as we get into your word here on this subject of gifts. So Paul says in Romans chapter 12, verses 3 through 8, "For by the grace," and this is the charis Greek word, "for by the grace given to me, I say to everyone among you not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think with sober judgment, each according to the measure of faith that God has assigned. For as in one body we have many members, and the members do not all have the same function, so we, though many, are one body in Christ, and individually members one of another. Having gifts that differ according to the grace given to us, let us use them, if prophecy in proportion to our faith, if service in our serving, the one who teaches in his teaching, the one who exhorts in his exhortation, the one who contributes, that's giving, with generosity, the one who leads with zeal, and the one who does acts of mercy with cheerfulness." So we see here listed 7 gifts in Romans 12: prophecy, serving, teaching, exhortation, giving, leadership, and mercy. Now we all have all of those from time to time, and we all can use those as God wills and as we make ourselves available. But we tend to favor these, and some people refer to these as motivational gifts, or sort of our temperament, our baseline. It's the way God has hardwired us and built us. We're kind of always this way. And he comes alongside, and his Spirit works within us to use those for his purposes. You can also see grace gifts listed in 1 Peter 4, 9, and 11, hospitality and speaking, 1 Corinthians 12:28, helps and administration, and 1 Corinthians 7:7, or celibacy, or in Exodus chapter 31, 1 through 5, creative skills. God gives us grace gifts in a lot of areas. I want to point out 1 Peter 4, 10, and 11. This has to do with all of us in our gifting. We all have a gift. Each of you has a gift. 1 Peter 4, 10, and 11 says, and it's not just one gift. You are the gift. It's a singular gift. It's you. And you are a unique combination of all your giftings that God gave you, and the dealings of the Spirit in your life, your parenting, your education, your failures, your successes in life. All those make you into the gift that you are to the body of Christ. So we use our gift, we use ourselves to serve others. It's not to serve us, it's to serve others so that God gets the glory. It's a 3-point sermon right there in 1 Peter 4, 10, and 11. It's a great way to look at our gifting. We all have a gift. We use it to serve others so that God gets the glory. So how can and should we use our gifts? Paul says in Romans 12 that we are to start out by being a living and holy sacrifice. And I want to say this: it is impossible to use our gifts in Romans 12. It's a very practical chapter. It's impossible to use our gifts to represent God well without the foundation of the gospel found in chapters 1 through 11. Paul presents a clear and compelling teaching on the gospel and the finished work of Jesus at the cross. It's just unbelievably encouraging. It is deep. It's tough sometimes to get through that, but without the foundation of the gospel permeating every part of our life, we can't just follow a bunch of rules to live and to serve him. So first of all, in Romans 12, 1 and 2, we lay down our lives daily as living and holy sacrifices. That's our acceptable worship to him. So holy sacrifice, set apart and sanctified, that requires the gospel, the good news that Jesus died for us, and that because of that, we want to serve him, not so that he'll love us, but because he loves us. We have this serving and humility and all the aspects that go into serving others with our gifts because of what God has done for us. So this process of being made holy or being set apart for his exclusive use, this is sanctification. This is, we are being saved. We have been saved and we are being saved. So being saved, or the process of sanctification, is simply becoming more like Jesus. How? By the daily dying to ourselves and making ourselves available for his exclusive use. And that requires letting him radically change the way we think, the renewing of our minds. And because of that, we can live securely, we can live comfortably with who we are. We don't have everything, we have a part of it. Paul says this very clearly in the following verses, Romans 12. Because of the privilege and authority God has given me, I give each of you this warning. Don't think you are better than you really are. Be honest in your evaluation of yourselves, measuring yourselves by the faith God has given us. Just as our bodies have many parts and each part has a special function, so it is with Christ's body. We are many parts of one body and we all belong to each other. 1 Corinthians 12:27 also says something similar. It says, all of you are together are Christ's body and each of you is a part of it. So we are not it, we are part of it. So in his grace, that's charisma, the charis Greek word, in his grace, God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well. So if God has given you the ability to prophesy, speak out with as much faith as God has given you. If your gift is serving others, serve them well. If you are a teacher, teach well. If your gift is to encourage others, be encouraging. If it is giving, give generously. If God has given you the leadership ability, take the responsibility seriously. And if you have a gift for showing kindness to others, do it gladly. So that section was out of the New Living Translation. So we have our 7 grace giftings here. Prophecy. The gift of prophecy is a truth teller. They see things as black and white. This is just scratching the surface, by the way, so I'm going through this very quickly. But the prophetic gift here is not the same as the spiritual gift of prophecy. This is a person's outlook on life. They are truth tellers. They will tell you the truth. They'll always tell the truth. And it's difficult for them not to see things as black and white. So they kind of can come across sort of that prophetic kind of look. If the gift is serving, this is, of course, we're all supposed to serve. This gift of serving in Romans 12 is a gift where people are energized by serving. They serve in a way that needs to be done. They serve in a way for whom it needs to be done. Not just the way they would do it, but they sincerely and graciously serve. Teachers cannot help but teach. They give long answers to questions, and they like to be in the know. They like to understand things, and they are constantly teaching. Encouragers are always encouraging. They are cheerleaders. They'll give you some advice, and they'll give you some steps of action, and they'll be there for you, and they'll walk alongside you, encouraging you along the way. The Romans 12 gift of giving is joyfully generous, and these people are usually savvy financially, and they're not wasteful. Remember, when Jesus fed the 5,000, he said afterwards, pick up the pieces so that there's nothing left over. He was not wasteful. He was financially savvy, and so he had the means to bless people. They don't want lots of recognition for doing this. It's part of their gifting. The gift of leadership is another thing that's a sort of a basic foundational temperament or motivation. Leaders cannot help but lead. They're always trying to lead. And sometimes people think that they're leaders, but they look over their shoulder and nobody's following them. So a true leader will look over their shoulder. Behind them, people are just following them. They just naturally do because that's their gift of leadership. The Romans 12 gift of mercy. These are the people that are eager to help. They have empathy. They can actually feel what other people are feeling. They come alongside. They're sort of stretcher bearers when somebody needs that. So here's a question that you ask yourself, well, what is my Romans 12 motivational gift? What is my grace gifting? Ask yourself this question. Do I have the grace to do this? Does it encourage me? Does it put a smile on my face? Do other people get encouraged when I use this gift? Does it float my boat? Does it light up my soul? Could you do this all day long? Do you have the grace to do this? This is what the question needs to be answered. And if you do, find one of those gifts. Take a look at that list carefully. Ask somebody to pray with you about it. And another question you could ask yourself is, which way is the grace flowing? Is the grace flowing from you to others? Are they becoming encouraged? Are they getting blessed or built up? Or is the grace going from them to you and they're just taking a deep breath and sighing and putting up with you when actually you don't have the grace for this gift, be honest with yourself. Be a person that walks in humility. 1 Peter 5:6, he says, humble yourself, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so he may exalt you at the proper time. Don't try exalting yourself. Humble yourself and let God do his job of exalting you. You always want him to do that job because he does a way better job of exalting us than we ever could. And if we turn around and do his job of exalting ourselves, he will turn around and do our job of humbling ourselves. And there again, he does a great job of that. Micah 6:8 says, he has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? But to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. I hope this helps. I hope this explains those Romans 12 grace giftings, motivational giftings a bit. And look in the show notes for the handout on spiritual gifts. I had it in the last episode's handout as well, because 3 episodes in a row I'm doing the Ephesians 4 giftings, ministry gifts to the church, the grace giftings in Romans 12, and the next one will be on spiritual gifts we see, or manifestations of the Spirit we see in 1 Corinthians 12. God bless you guys. Love you. Thanks so much for listening. Hey guys, thanks for joining in with me today. I'm really encouraged to see folks wanting to become more fruitful and effective in their ministries. Strong and Healthy is a work in progress with regular updates, so stay tuned for more. And please subscribe to this channel so you can get the latest content. And also, if you'd like, you can email me with questions and encouragements at contactstevebarr@gmail.com. God bless. See you next time.